everybody, I'm Adriana and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to share with you all about my Disney audition experience. I've been to 8 different auditions with the Walt Disney Company. I have been to face character / lookalike auditions, parade performer, character performer, and Disney College Program auditions. So I definitely have a ton of experience, advice, tips, all that good stuff to share with you. So let's just go ahead and get started. An important thing to mention before we go ahead and get started with this video is you don't have to have any previous acting, dancing experience before you go into these auditions. Obviously, will it help you? Yes, so much, because there are dance portions. The animation section, you have to be pretty good at like being animated and big and just demonstrate emotions with your body, which acting will obviously super help with, but you don't have to bring them a resume or anything like that with previous experience, because they're not going to look at it when they're picking who they want. So definitely just remember that and don't let it discourage you if you don't have any previous experience. Another thing is wearing fitted clothing that they can see your movement well and they can see your body type well. Obviously, modest is hottest. What I typically wear for auditions, I wear a tank top in a color that I feel like just makes me look good, and then I wear a pair of leggings that I can easily move around in when I'm dancing, when I'm being animated, being big, and then I wear sneakers. Now, I wear sneakers just because I have not danced in years, so I don't have like jazz shoes or anything like that, but I know that some people do come with like their dance shoes and things like that, and it's really just what you can move in, what you feel good in, what they can see your body type in, and just what's comfortable for you, really. First up is face character / lookalike auditions. So this is probably the audition that I've been to the most times, and it can either be the shortest audition or the longest audition, depending on how far you get through the rounds. So in my experience, my very first face character / lookalike audition was, I believe, in January of 2018, and I've been to 8 separate auditions, but for some reason I only have 6 of my tickets, or like numbers, I guess. So when you arrive into the facility, for my first one, it was at the Animal Kingdom Lodge, not Animal Kingdom Lodge, the DCP days are coming back, Animal Kingdom Rehearsal Facility. That is where they host the majority of their Florida auditions. And for my very first character audition, I was number 293, and I only arrived, I want to say, 15 minutes early, actually. So I arrived 15 minutes early before the designated start time, and I was already nearing the 300s. So people show up so fast for these auditions. Face character auditions are for pretty much any Disney character that are human beings. So that would be your princesses, your princes, your villains, and so on and so forth. So pretty much these auditions are posted on the Disney Auditions website, and they will show you a height range. For example, mine is typically 5'4" to like 5'6", or maybe like the 5'3" to 5'8" range. It varies depending on what they are casting for at that particular audition, and they will post in the Disney Auditions website what characters they are looking for. So they are saying things around the lines of, we are casting for characters that resemble the characters in maybe Cinderella or Aladdin and things like that. So they will tell you exactly what they're looking for, and if you feel like if you fit that description, you fit that height range, which is very important, then go ahead and attend the audition if there is one in your city, or maybe travel out to go to that one. So my very first audition, like I said, I was number 293. I arrived 15 minutes early, and there were so many people that I was already nearing the 300s. They even had to navigate parking around the building. That was probably the most hectic audition I've ever been to with the Walt Disney Company, and I don't know why it was so hectic. I believe it was because it was the first one they had for face characters in a long time, and they were casting for so many height ranges and so many characters. So that one was definitely crazy. Like, cars wrapped around the building, girls in a line around the building. Insane. Now, because face character auditions get so much traction and so many people want to go to them, it is very quick. Basically, it starts off with what's called a type out, and they put you into the room and you all get a number so that they can see who you are. Now, when I went to this audition my first time, it was all very like not technological. So they gave you a number and that was it. Nowadays, and I figure I will tell you this because it is this way now, what they have you do is they have you pull up your phone and go on the Disney Auditions website. They tell you exactly what the website is when you go there because it's a little bit different than the normal one. The website that they give you at your audition will direct you to a specific form for the audition you're at, and it'll prompt you to sign into your Disney Auditions account, which I highly suggest making one before you go to these auditions, or to create one. And then when you've done all that, you basically put in your number and then you submit a headshot. And what's kind of annoying is that this headshot has to be one that you take right then and there. You can't pick one off of your phone. You have to take a selfie wherever you are, so you will have to move around, find good lighting, find the right angle. So make sure your selfie skills are really good before you go to these auditions. And then, like I said, definitely make your Disney Auditions profile before you go, because I know when it comes to the Animal Kingdom rehearsal facility, my phone does not like to work in there. Signal's terrible for me. So definitely make your account beforehand. Make sure you know your password, because plenty of times I keep forgetting my password, and there's nothing worse than having bad signal, forgetting your password, and being in a time crunch because there's all these girls and you just want to get it done fast. So definitely remember that. Make sure that when you are putting your number into the Disney Auditions website that you are not reading it upside down. I wish I could tell you that this hasn't happened before. I wish I could tell you that I haven't done this before, but I have. I'm almost done with a college degree and I can't read numbers. Yeah, so it happens. You're nervous, you're excited, looking down at your shirt, and all of a sudden you read your number backwards. So just make sure you're looking at your number the correct way, put it into your phone the right way, and then you won't have any problems, because I've definitely put my number in backwards before. I'm not gonna lie, I've done it. So just make sure you don't do that. But anyways, I walk into this room with all of these girls, and they give you your number, and then they line you up in number order, and then they take you into the room in groups of 100. So in this group of 100, they put you in lines, and then there are about like 1 or 3 casting directors at the front of the room, and then all the girls lining back. They're all so nice. The casting directors are so nice. Whenever you get rejected, you kind of want to hate them a little bit, but you literally can't, because they're all so nice and they're just doing their job. And they tell you, like, I'm pretty sure the first one I ever went to, they were like, listen, all of you are beautiful. Obviously, that's why you're here. You could be the most gorgeous girl in the world, but Disney characters, they have humongous eyeballs and all these different like cartoony features, and we're just looking for someone that matches that at these face character auditions. So they are so super nice to you, and they are so willing to just boost your confidence and then just let you go, you know? So they definitely remind you that there is something very specific they're looking for, and they invite you to keep coming back, which is super great. While you're in this room with 100 girls, they have music pumping. They're trying to make the atmosphere and the mood not so intense and heavy, so they will definitely have like fun Disney music on. And then it is encouraged, and I definitely encourage you myself, to step out of your comfort zone and get to know the girls around you. It'll make you so much more comfortable. So basically what happens is, while you're in these lines of 100 girls, the very first line is in front of the casting directors, and the casting directors, a type out is basically when they just kind of stare at you. I don't really know why it's called the type out, but that's what it is. You're standing in front of them smiling, and they stare at you, they look at all of you. They're looking very specifically at all of your features. They're looking at your eyes, your teeth, your nose, your skin tone, your not so much your hair color, because that can be changed, obviously. They're looking at if you have any tattoos, your body type, things like that, and seeing how they can fit you with a character, and then more importantly, not just how they can fit you with a character, but how well you will mesh with all of the other cast members currently performing as that character. I'm trying to maintain character integrity as much as possible with this. So it's very important. You could look an exact replica to Princess Jasmine, but if all of the girls friends with Princess Jasmine right now don't look like you, they're not going to cast you, because Princess Jasmine can't look different one day the next day. That just doesn't make sense, because there's only one Princess Jasmine, right? So that is something definitely important to consider, because sometimes that's why they invite you to come back. Sometimes you may look exactly like the character, but I'm pretty sure you understand what I'm saying. So they're looking at all these different things about you. I have been, my very first type out audition for face characters, I looked straightforward, because that's what they told us to do. Because there were just so many of us, they just told us to look straightforward, smile. They looked at all of us, and then next line, next line. Now a couple of other face character auditions, and I'm pretty sure every other one after that, because it wasn't nearly as busy, they told us just to chat with the person next to us, and they wanted to see us obviously smile, and then occasionally make eye contact with them while they're looking at us. But this was so much more comfortable, and I'm so glad that the auditions are this way now, or at least the less busy ones, because You just talk to the person next to you, be super animated, talk with your hands, smile, and just talk about a funny story with the person next to you, get to know them a little bit, and then they get to see you, what you look like talking and interacting with another human being, so that they can see what you look like with different facial expressions, so on and so forth. So this last audition that I went to, which was last Saturday, was a face character audition. And that's exactly what happened. Me and the girls next to me in line, we were like, okay, when I get up there, I'm gonna tell you a funny story, and I'm gonna talk and you're gonna react to me, and this is gonna work for everybody. So I told them a story about, and obviously you're not talking loudly because, I mean, everybody's talking in the room, so the room is already loud, it doesn't really matter. But I'm not telling the story for the casting directors, I'm literally just telling the story quietly to the girls around me so that we have something to laugh about, feel like the mood isn't so heavy, and then they can see like the facial expressions on our faces. Pretty much what I did is I told them a story about when I was on my Disney college program, how I was working in the fire pit and a guest did not blow out their marshmallow like I told them to, and I like was super afraid that my hair was gonna burn off and all these things. So I told them this story, and we were all laughing and we were just talking and like reacting to it, and obviously we were being much more dramatic than we needed to be, but it was just like a good way to lighten the mood, make us feel a little bit more comfortable, and then kind of show the casting directors like a little bit more emotion rather than just like staring straight ahead and smiling at them creepily. So it definitely makes it a lot more comfortable when the type outs go that way and then let you talk to the people around you, but also smiling straight ahead just works too, and they just look at you. You can kind of tell a little bit who they're looking at more. They'll like deliberate and like chit chat to each other and like kind of cover, and I'm just like, who are you talking about? And so they'll like chit chat and then they'll look again, and then they will probably look at their tablet or write down some numbers and then things like that, and then the next line will come through. And so basically when they are done looking at all 100 girls, they call out some numbers and they tell you, they like that little pep talk, they're like, all of you are beautiful, blah blah blah, but we're just looking something specific today, please come back to more auditions, and so on and so forth. And then basically what happens is, let's say that the room is number 1 to number 100, they're gonna call out the numbers of the girls who they are interested in. So honestly, sometimes if it is a really lucky group, then they will call out a bunch of names, but that's not really common. So pretty much what I've experienced is, out of a room of like 100 girls, they'll maybe take like 7. So it'll be like 2, 4, 13, 25, 74, 93. Thank you everybody, go home. And then they say, everybody that we called, come to the front, and then they chit chat and go from there. So that is the first part of the audition. So like I said, if you don't get called in a face character audition or look-alike audition, it can go by really, really fast. Those auditions you could literally go to, be in and be out of in 10 minutes, depending on when you arrive and how many girls there are there. But if you're on the first group, for sure you'll be in and out in like 10 minutes, maybe if that. So they go by really fast. Now, if you make it through that first round, yay, that's awesome. Basically what happens after there is they will talk to you a little bit. They will measure you and your height, and this is important because every single person who is a character performer at Disney World has to fit a certain height measurement for this character, because it is very strict on the costumes for you to be exactly the height that you need to be for these costumes. Not only is it important to look like the character you're portraying, but also because every face character also doubles as a fur character, and these costumes for fur characters are very strict height-wise, and you have to be within that height range in order to be in like the garment itself. If you make it through the type out audition, then this is where things will look a little bit more like your typical character performer audition, but end a little bit differently. So from here, they will probably have you do a dance, a little bit of a marchy style dance, or a more intense one, and then after the dance they will have you do an animation, which I will explain later in our character performer segment. And then after your animation, they will probably give you a sheet, which is a character profile, or a script, and then you read over the script. Depending on where you are, if you're auditioning in Orlando in the Animal Kingdom rehearsal facility, they will probably put you in costume so they can see exactly what you're gonna look like, and then have you read a script and tell you to do your best version of that character's voice. Sometimes they will put you in costume and have you read the script. Other times they will just have you read the script just the way you are, and then later they will send that information over to California to have wigs digitally put on you so that they can get a better vision of what you're going to look like, which is why that headshot that you took at the very beginning of the audition is very, very important, or uploading headshots onto your audition profile on DisneyAuditions.com is very important, so that they have plenty to work with and see your face in different angles and different things, different headshots like that. Next up is character performer, Disney College Program, and then parade performer auditions. Now, in my experience, all of these have been very, very similar, meaning they start off with a march type dance and then a more detailed choreographed dance, then they go into an animation, and then that's the end of that. So that is pretty much what I've experienced in all of my character performer, Disney College Program, and parade performer auditions. So I'm going to kind of lump these ones together because they kind of follow the same schedule, but in my experience they were a little bit different depending on which one I was at. First up, I'm just going to lump together my Disney College Program and character performer auditions. So as I said before, it starts off with a very march type dance. And what I mean by that is something that you would probably see in a parade, like very marchy, like swing your hands, jazz squares, things like that, like very basic dance steps. You don't need very much dance experience to follow this one at all, just like a little bit of coordination and you'll make it through. And so basically my experience for this is that you have like the marchy type dance and then they make a cut. So you go in a wave. Like what happened is they lined us up around the building. They had one casting director at the front observing all of us, and then one kind of organizing us in the back. And so we went in a row, and then they had the music playing on loop, and then we would go march up, do our whole little thing, and then walk over, and then they were writing down numbers. And at the end of that, when everybody's done doing the march type dance, they make a cut. And then this one, unlike the face character auditions, this one they accept a lot more people because, like I said, it's really not difficult. They just want to make sure you can, like, literally it's like walking with style. So they just want to make sure that you can move and just have a decent bit of motion. After that, they make a cut, and then you go on to the more intricate dance. The second dance is much more intricate than the first one. The second dance is where you're gonna wish you had some dance experience. Thankfully, I danced from when I was like in elementary school through like high school, and then in high school I did cheerleading, so I was very like able to move and do things, but like this one was just very intricate. It was very fast paced. I don't even remember what song it was to, but just lots of movement, lots of legs, arms, full body, like moving spots, moving positions, doing different dance moves, some like even like ballet moves and things like that. So obviously they showed you how to do everything, but if you are familiar with your body and how to move and follow beat, you will be good. But it is definitely one that you have to be a fast learner for. So if you are going to your first audition and you really want to do this, I would probably suggest taking some dance lessons just to see if you can pick up a routine really quickly. Play Just Dance on your Wii or your Switch or whatever it is, because the quicker you can pick up choreography and get it in your head and flow it out through your body, then it will be so much easier for you. And then in the more intricate dance, we went over a bunch of times. Like I was afraid at the beginning that they were only going to go over it like once or twice, and then I was just going to be like, well, here it is. But they did it a couple times to let us go over it, and then we performed it, and they put us in spots. So I want to say it was like 3 in the front, 2 in the back, and then we all performed it at one time, and then they watched all of us. That way they could just see every single person. They have everybody go through that, and then on to the animation. The animation is probably the part that I stress about most going into the auditions, because there's literally no preparation you can do for the animation. None at all. And when I explain this to you, you'll understand what I mean. For the dance, they tell you exactly what to do. So for me, this really wasn't something I was worried about, because they tell you the steps, you just have to execute it. When they look at you, they just look at you, you know, you just put your face on and you show up. Nothing to think about. Now the animation is completely up in the air until they tell you what it is. I'm going to explain to you a little bit what an animation is, just in case you have never experienced or don't know what that means. So an animation is, they give you a scenario, and they tell you to tell that story with your body. You're not allowed to speak. They're not looking for you to dance. They're not looking for you to be pretty. They are just looking for you to tell a story with your body that matches what they gave you. So here's a couple examples that I got when I was good at these auditions. One of the examples I got was, you are in the parade on Main Street, our 3 o'clock parade, our festival fantasy parade, and basically what's going to happen is for the first couple counts, and they tell you exactly how many, you are going to portray one of our Fab 5 characters. For the next couple of counts, you're going to portray one of our princesses, and for the next couple of counts, you're going to be a villain. And so you kind of have to tell that story with your body. You really have to figure out on the fly too, like you have to think really fast. Okay, how am I going to portray this? How am I going to tell this story with my body? So you have to really think about these characters and then think about what is so typical of them and how can I portray that with my body. So that was for the Fab 5, or for like a princess, like Merida does her bow and arrow thing. Rapunzel does like the lifting the lantern thing. So it definitely helps to study the parades for sure. Thankfully, I'm an Orlando native, so I literally go and watch a festival for fantasy all the time, so I knew that in my head what I was trying to do. So that was really easy for me. And then like for a villain, like, are you like stirring the cauldron and like pulling the apple out or something like that? So this was probably the easiest animation I think I could have ever gotten. Like, I think this is the easiest animation they will ever ask anybody to do ever. So I wouldn't bank that they're gonna give this to you if you go to an audition, but this is definitely one that I got before. From here, it got a lot more difficult real fast. In a couple other auditions, I had a couple different scenarios I had to follow. One of them was, had just finished, Halloween had just passed, like just passed. And then this one was for my Disney College Program audition, and it was, you are a character, you are a ghost in the Haunted Mansion, and I want to know the story of how you died. Yeah, so you had to, this one was hard for me because I was like, okay, do I pick a character that's already in the Haunted Mansion, or do I just create my own story? And so you basically have to figure out that all on your own and portray that with your body. Portray, how did this person die, and then how are they figuring out that they're dead? Like, just tell the whole story for the whole amount of time. The time that they give you is not very long. I think it's like a minute. It's not very long in retrospect, but when you're in the moment, you're like, oh my god, what am I doing? And you never want to stop moving. You never want to stop telling the story, because when you're a performer, like, you're constantly on stage, you're constantly telling that story. And especially if you're a fur character, you cannot use your words, so you have to use your body, you know? And what the casting directors say all the time is, if you can make them laugh, you are doing good. Like, you're doing a good job if you can make them laugh. So definitely be creative, be big. A lot of them have told us, like, don't jump, don't like slam yourself on the ground or anything like that, because they're not looking for someone to grab their attention, they're looking for someone who can tell a story. A couple other animation exercises that I've heard before is transformation animations. And by this I mean, for example, one of them that I've heard of is, you're a toy builder and then you become the toy that you're building, or you are a zookeeper and then you become the animal that you are tending to, or you're getting ready for a party, like tell the story if you're getting ready for the party, you know, things like that. So there are so many different types of animation examples that they could give you, but this is definitely, I would say, the part of the audition process that is most important for character performers, just because you're not always dancing. When is the last time you saw a character, like a fur character, dance, you know what I mean? I think they do like the intensive dance portion just to see if they can use you somewhere else, like as a parade performer or something, but really the animation is what counts. Like, that is what matters, because fur characters cannot speak. They have to use everything with their arms and their bodies and tell the story, interact with guests, and you can't stop, you're always on stage, you know? So definitely, like, if you can, look up some prompts online, try the ones that I told you, give yourself like a couple minutes to practice, and then do one, and then maybe do it in front of a family member and be like, did you get what I was trying to, like, did you get the story that I was trying to portray with my body? So that would really help you. I know that definitely would have helped me before going into those, but animation, very big deal. Very much worth preparing for. What differentiates character performer auditions and Disney College Program auditions is that at the end of Disney College Program auditions, if they have been looking at you and they feel like your facial features and your body type could fit a face character, then they will pull you aside and then have you take a headshot and go forward with more of like a face character audition from there. You already did the bulk of it, so it's not going to take much longer, but they just want to like investigate that further, and then you can potentially be a face character on your Disney College program as well, but that typically happens at the end of that audition. Next up is parade performer auditions. Parade performer auditions, again, go pretty much just the same as a character performer audition. This audition started off with the very marchy type dance, and then it went to the animation, and just like the other examples that I've told you, they let you practice it beforehand before you actually went out and performed it in front of everyone. And so this one actually only had like 2 rounds, just the marchy type and then the animation, and then they didn't make a cut into the end, and the end is when they pulled aside the people that they were interested in. I'm surprised this one didn't have like the intricate dance that the other ones did, but because they were casting for like face characters, parade performers, and character performers in Georgia, they were probably just trying to find like an overview of how well you can move and animate. Out of all the auditions that I've been to, the Disney College program audition was probably the one, well, was definitely the one that I went the furthest in. I went through all of the rounds, and I got a headshot taken afterwards. And then I was sent home with everybody else just saying like, we will contact you if we are interested. So that one was probably the one that I learned the most at, and that I felt like was the most promising audition of mine. But I did not get the role from that audition nor any of the other ones, and instead I got a role in children's activities on my Disney College program, which I talked a lot about on this channel. You can see all sorts of my experiences from my Disney College program if you're interested. For all of you on your Disney College program, if your heart is set on being a character performer, I definitely suggest on applying for a longer program. So I suggest applying for either Spring Advantage or Fall Advantage, or just something that is on the longer side, because I know mine was only like a 3 or 4 month program, is really short, and that can definitely hinder you from getting a character performer role, or a role where the training takes a little bit longer than most roles, because obviously they want to get you in and out of training so that you can go and do your thing. But for character performer, training takes a good bit of time, especially if you're a face character, because you have to be trained on fur and then for face. So you definitely want to make sure you have that longer program, because they don't want to train you all this much for you to leave like a month later, you know what I mean? So if that's something your heart is definitely set on, apply for a longer program. I wish I knew that before I went on my program, and I think that will help you a ton after the auditions when they're deciding whether or not to cast you in that role. Alright, so that is all I have for this video. I'm like hesitating to end it because I feel like I have more to say, but I don't think I do. I think I said everything I wanted to say. So if you have any questions, go ahead and put them down below. If you're curious about my Disney College program journey, like I said, I documented that all, and it is on my YouTube channel, and you can watch all of that from beginning to end. I hope this helps you, and I wish you the best in pursuing your dreams. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!